Katy Perry, an Australian designer, has won a trademark fight against Katy Perry. Katy Perry, an Australian fashion designer, has won a trademark dispute in her home country against a certain Katy Perry. Back in 2009, the two Perrys began fighting about who had the right to sell apparel under the name Katy. Katy Perry in Australia. The singing Perry issued the designing Perry a severe legal letter, prompting the latter to publicly criticize the former. The singer contended that the stern letter was not as menacing as the designer claimed, and that it was only a standard correspondence issued as part of her own company's bid to register several trademarks in Australia. However, the dispute did eventually end up in court, albeit years later and at the designer Perry's request. She sued pop diva Perry in 2019 after finding someone prepared to fund legal proceedings, claiming that the musician's sale of Katy Perry branded clothing products in Australia infringed on her trademark. Katy Perry had married by then and was now officially known as Katy Taylor. The fact that Perry Taylor had used the name Katy Howell while growing up, Howell being her stepfather's surname, was brought up, but it wasn't important to the court case. However, she was born Katy Perry and resumed using that name around the time she launched her clothing line in 2006. And, of course, Katy Perry isn't really Katy Perry, her real name being Katy Hudson. She released her first album in 2001 under that name, and didn't rise to fame as Katy Perry until her 2008 album One of the Boys. That was released 2 years after the designer Perry had started selling clothing under her birth name, although she didn't trademark the Katy Perry brand in Australia until shortly after the release of the other Perry's 2008 album. But anyway, despite all those technicalities, Perry has won the trademark battle. By which I mean Katy Perry, or Katy Taylor if that makes it easier to follow. In my view, Miss Taylor is entitled to an injunction against to restrain it from continuing engaging in infringing conduct, wrote Australian Judge Bridget Markovic in a ruling last week.